Wolof is a Senegambian language with somewhere over 5 million native speakers, spoken mostly in Senegal, where it's also the de facto common language, the Gambia, and in Mauritania. It's a very interesting language. Like other Senegambian languages, it has consonant mutation. Unlike other sub-Saharan African languages, it's atonal, but it does have pitch accent. It's also the language where the English word banana comes from. But what I want to talk about here is a feature which may feel strange to speakers of European languages: temporal pronouns. For someone who's studied European languages, like English, French, Italian, German, tense is definitely something that's come up. And when we think about tense within this framework, we generally default to thinking about verbs. We have an infinitive, a name for the verb, like to go or to play, and then we conjugate. He goes, he went, he plays, he played. In phrases like he has gone or he will go, another verb is used to support either a past participle or an infinitive, in this case to have or a form of the verb will. In French and Italian, we even have this conjugated future tense from the verb stem. Whatever the differences between these systems, the base assumption is the same. Verbs are malleable, changeable, while other parts of the sentence, like the subject, I, he, we, are constant. In Wolof, we throw this assumption out right off the bat. Here, verbs are constant. They're generally unchangeable stems, while pronouns can be conjugated based on time. I is different in the present and future. He usually goes, dafai dem, has a different he, she, it in it to he will go, dina dem. That's where the term temporal pronouns comes from. Pronouns which show time. And this kind of makes sense, right? Me usually isn't the same as me in the future. And the action of going is the same, no matter when it's done. It makes at least as much sense as conjugating verbs anyway. But really, we shouldn't have to think about this in terms of some different way of thinking, because this system of temporal pronouns exists to some extent in some dialects of English. Let me explain. Take the sentence I go, compared with I'm a go. If I was an alien linguist with no knowledge of the history of the English language looking at these sentences in isolation, the most logical thing to do here would be to mark this as a temporal pronoun. I is me in the present, I'ma is me in the future. We say it as one word after all, and we write it that way too, when writing speech. The pronoun seems to be what's changed here, not the verb. Now I know this isn't how it really works. This here comes from I am going to, contracted to, I'm going to, contracted to, I'ma. So from a historical perspective, we can mark this as a subject pronoun, auxiliary verb, preposition, just as a contraction. And if we look at other parts of the verb, this analysis falls apart. In the present, most of these dialects will say he goes rather than he go, conjugating the verb. But who knows? Maybe in the future, at least some dialects of English will drop verb conjugations altogether. It's not exactly probable, but maybe we'll stop with all these third-person forms, and past and present participles. Our language has certainly been going that way so far. How about I've go with me in the past, I'll go or I'm a go with me in the future, and I'm go with me in the continuous present, and then he, she forms like this, basically eliminating conjugations by person. Even now, maybe you could argue that these dialects have a hybrid system. The grammatical feature of tense is best explained in terms of verb conjugations in the past, or in terms of temporal pronouns in the future. It's not like this kind of system doesn't exist. Remember when I said generally unchangeable a little while back? In Wolof itself, the past tense can be marked with the orn ending added to the verb, like in demona, he went. Grammar is complicated and inconsistent. In the vast majority of cases, no one sat down and thought it out from scratch. Wolof sometimes marks tense with verb endings, and sometimes with temporal pronouns. And, in a way, a little bit, so does colloquial English. If you're interested in learning Wolof, check out this guy's channel, which helped me a lot with some of the Wolof information in this video. With that, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time when I talk about languages or something, I don't know.